We are doing lesson number 9 in the quarterly Daniel, and the title is From Contamination to Purification. What do you hear? Did anything I read in this particular passage sound like a legal process? It's not, guys. It's actual. It's real. It's restorative. Understand what God wants for you. He wants to restore in you His character, His design. He wants to write His law in your hearts and minds. Not a list of rules. His law is a design law. The principles of love, truth, freedom upon which reality operate. He wants that to be the operating system upon which motivates your actions. He wants you to be built up into righteousness. That's what He wants. And so Satan hates it. He wants to replace that with a legal fraud where you are declared to be righteous even though you're not, where you're looking for something to happen way off in the cosmos somewhere with a heavenly advocate in a courtroom who's putting something down in a book, but nothing's happening in your heart. So that you have a false sense of security. I've claimed the blood price. It's been paid to my legal account, but I haven't been healed. I haven't been renewed.
But what has the church gained by teaching this other way?
Power over people. That's what they've gained. You laugh at that. You think I'm wrong? You're dead wrong. This is exactly how the imperial system works, by manipulating people with fear. If you don't believe these doctrines in this way, if you don't go to church on this day, if you don't pay your tithe to this institution, if you don't teach your child, if you aren't baptized in this way, if you don't go to these schools, in other words, it's a legal process and you have to do legal stuff, and if you don't get the right check boxes marked, you're going to be found deficient. And only the church, our institution, our organization holds the keys. Now some people might get, oh, that's really offensive, Doc. That's really offensive. Okay, how about if I put it this way? If you don't take Eucharist, if you don't go to confession, if you don't get your infant baptized and sprinkling as an infant, if you don't get your last rites done, if you commit suicide, then you've committed murder and you can't be buried in holy ground and you're lost for all eternity because the church can't absolve you of that sin. Because we hold the keys. We're in power. Okay, now you're speaking truth, brother. Did you all see the same exact process with a different set of check marks? This is what happens when you accept the lie that God's law works like human law. What they get power, they get control. And they get a false sense of security. You see, sin, the natural result of sin, is fear. As soon as Adam and Eve sinned, they ran and hid because they were afraid. The natural result of sin is fear. And the natural result of fear is actions to protect self. They sewed fig leaf garments together to try to cover themselves and make themselves feel not as exposed, not as fearful, not as vulnerable. That's the natural human response. And what happens? We're in sin, we're afraid, so we will sew together the fig leaf garments of a penal legal righteousness system in which Jesus came, paid a penalty, we offer that to God, it covers over us, and we're declared to be righteous even though we're not. We're still corrupt to the core, sinful, but we get declared in God's heavenly courtroom. We're legally righteous now, but we're still wicked in heart. But it doesn't matter because Jesus paid the penalty, and we're not being judged. He's being judged in our place. And we feel safe in our sinfulness. Or we can do the Catholic view. We're feeling fearful from our sinfulness. So what do? We go to confession, and we confess it to the priest, and the priest says, you're absolved of your sin. And you take the Eucharist, and we take the Eucharist, Jesus now goes into heaven, and He offers His sacrifice to the Father to pay for your sin. And that sin is now absolved. No change is happening in you. That's what they get. They get control and a false sense of security. God wants to cleanse hearts and minds of people from lies, fear, selfishness, like was read in the Desire of Ages text, announcing His mission to cleanse us from sinfulness, the evil habits.